Hello there and welcome back. So in this part we're going to work on the hardware to basically hold this shelf sink bench here to the actual wall. So all I've done, I've just made a little mesh layer there called sink bench block out, and I've just made a block just so we know the extent of where the actual item's gonna go, just from the sizes more than anything. So I'm going to create a new mesh layer excuse me, called sink bench hardware. Okay, and we're going to work in that layer there. So I'm just gonna copy and paste that, and just move over there and just just give us something to look at. Now we know what we've following is exactly. It's only as a guide. So what we'll do, we'll just make it in this sort of area here. Okay. So I'm just going to start with just a cube basic primitive here. I've not got no snapping turned on or anything. I'm not too worried about any dimensions here. I'm just going to pull it out there. Okay. So that's one piece. Now we're just making this up as we go. We're not following any. I'm just going to copy and paste that. We're not following any sort of guide, or you can just Google imagery for like sink hardware and brackets and things if you want, and get some proper dimensions and some proper layers. But this whole project is almost what I would class as a architectural doodle. So I'm not worried from that point of view. Now I'm going to grab another cylinder. I'm just looking at the radii here, make sure they're the same. I'm just going to extend that past for now. I'm just going to get the slice tool. I'm just going to cut. Just going to segregate that a bit. I'm just going to select 2, hit the L key to loop round, Alt C. Now this is a very similar sort of situation as we used to make the tap heads, if you remember how it sort of bent over. So it's the same old as my lecturers always used to tell me at university. Same old. And basically what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go over to the deform, the bend. We're going to do the same. I'll say it again. Let same old. Let's turn the snapping off. Okay, let's bend that. Just bend that round, basically. I'm just going to delete these caps. Now, I'm going to move this to sort of here. I'm not going to butt it right up. In fact, I might even move it a bit lower. Now we're going outside the bottom here, but it doesn't matter. Edges, I'm just going to hold the middle mouse button down. I'm just going to select those ends, and I'm going to bring them So I'm shy of this and that, so I've got a gap there. Now I'm going to make this a bit, I'm going to scale this actually like that, so it's not actually cylindrical. That might give us a nice, I know it's only subtle, but that's a bit more elliptical now. We may even go a bit more. So I do quite like, let's just have a look at the cross section. Yeah, we'll go for a bit more of a sort of fluted. Actually, and that's made a bit of a side effect of doing that is this bit is actually narrowing this bit, which I would say ultimately is not ideal, but in this case I actually quite like it. And that's the good thing about doing these sort of doodles at times. You get these funny occurrences where you think, actually, that's not bad. So I'm gonna emphasise that, but I'm gonna drag that back up there, and we're gonna scale this. Like that. Now we may have to delete some of these edges just to get a slightly better blend in there. Okay, this is going to be a sub D model again. Okay, so I quite like that. So this here, so we're going to do the same here. So I liked how that turned out. So we're going to scale this one in the, we'll flute that one a bit that way. I'm going to make that bottom almost flat, but not quite. Okay, now we need a way of joining this in. So this is a similar situation, you know, to what we've done before. I'm going to do Shift and D to sub D it. I'm not going to do that one as well on camera because it's exactly the same as you've seen when we joined the bottom of the tap to the square little plate, this little square plate in that cylinder. So I'll do it for this one onto here, then I'll just do that one off camera because that is exactly the same, so you don't want to. So I'm just going to subdivide that twice. Right, let's just see how that sub D's well. Now this here, I'm going to move this in a wee bit. I'm just going to scan it just so it's inside this. Now we don't need all these polygons here. I'm just gonna undo that for a minute. Now these four, I'm going to delete. And now it's just the same situation we've had before. We basically just need to get our verts. We'll start with one we know. We'll start with this top point here. So this is going to link to that point there. Now we don't want coplanar poly, so I'm going to do it with tries. Actually, no, we'll try it with no, we won't. We're not going to go down that route. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to. Okay, that's right. And sometimes when you're doing this, it's best to sort of work out from one known position, like I started with this point here, just so we don't get, you don't really want to get too confused. Just sort of select 2 on this edge here. Now you can go like this and select 4, but then if you notice this point, then they're not on the same plane at all. But actually, it gives a nice. Let's just delete these. You can always just delete these. You see, there's no. That gets a better one. So I'm going to go back over to my verts. I'm going to select that one. What's made this slightly more awkward or than we had before, because if you remember when we did these ones over here, the cylinder was smack in the middle of the square, so we didn't have none of these different sized polygons. It was just easier to keep tabs. So we're going to go coplanar and do 4, like make a sort of a quad. Don't need that one. Okay. Now I'm going to hit the sub D key, and that's that joined in. Now you could add edges here if you want it more sort of hard, but actually I want this fluted. This whole thing has got to be fluted in appearance, so I'm going to leave it because that was the whole reason why I expanded these wider at the top, just so it's going to blend in more. So I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so that's the end of this part. What I'll do now off camera, I'll just join this one exactly the same as that. I'll subdivide this and delete the faces and join up the polys off camera. Then when I come back in, we'll move them into place. We'll also just drill a few holes through here, but we'll just be using the boolean for that, just for some sort of bolts to connect it to the wall there. So thanks for watching the Sync Bench hardware. I'll get this finished off now, and I'll see you back in the next part. Bye for now.